We are going to talk about making fabric books. I've been making these for years. Anytime somebody has a baby, this is what I like to make for them because it's soft and they're soft and they can drool on them, and you know, babies poop on everything, and so you can throw these in the washing machine. And they're really, really fun. And there's a lot of things you can do with these books that say, you know, this was made for. Put this in your embroidery machine and put the baby's name there. You can quilt them if you want to. You can make each page, you know, because you make the page like this, where this is one panel. You could quilt this if you wanted to. So if you notice, hear that?
Nope,
so
can you do it again?
This is not the one that you send to church. This one's okay for church. This one, not so much. So I have stuff called crinkle material. It's a yard of fabric, so it's 36 by 48 inches. So you could put the crinkle paper in every page. I usually just put it in the outside page, and then the inside pages don't have it. I want to show you a full panel of one of these books. So this is the one that we're going to talk about, that I'm going to demo today. So this is the Goose Tales book. So you've got you've got 6 different squares, rectangles. Those are rectangles. So we cut all those out. Here's the other beauty to this. The directions are written right on it. Save the directions to show you what this looks like. So this much of the panel says do this, and then do this, and then do that, and here's pictures. I like that. So what we did was we cut out all of the squares like this. All right. Then we cut out fusible fleece the same size. 3 pieces of fusible fleece the same size as the panels. Then I had to read the directions, because as many times as I do this, I can never remember which pages go with each other. So what I have, and I didn't fuse this because my iron and sewing machine's upstairs, so we're just going to put this together and we're going to pretend that we fused one of these pieces to this. Okay, so we want to get it, and I don't cut it perfectly. I cut it close enough that everything's covered, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So the directions say to take this page and put them face together. So I like to fuse this first. So on 3 of the pages, we're going to fuse this to the back. Then we're going to match these up. Now I get a little anal about it, and I like, see how the lines are here and here? I like to be able to match up those lines the best I can. So I'm going to match up that square and that square. And you know, you only need like 4 pins here. And I want to match up this line and this line. And if it's not perfect, it doesn't really matter, because you can zhuzh it later and you're not really going to see it. I just feel like I can center all the pages together better if I know that these line up. Okay, magic of TV. We're going to sew it together. So we've sewn this. I know I picked a bad color and I picked a bad thread to see on the camera, but whatever, work with me. So we've sewn this together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around, and I've left about 3 inches open for turning. So since this is kind of messy around the edge, I will take and trim off any of that extra, just because I like to top stitch my books, and I don't want there to be any extra fullness. So I'm just going to trim off all the sides. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take and trim off these corners. I hate turning things inside out, and I usually make DJ do it, but this is a big enough opening that you can almost just reach in. I grab the opposite corner and pull it through the opening. This is not hard stuff. Okay, so it turns pretty easily. And on this panel, not all of them have this, but on this particular panel, it even shows you, you know, leave this open for turning. If you have never tried this turning tool, do yourself a favor and get one. I love this thing. It has a really thick ball pointed end. So I see people all the time pull out their little scissors and poke through the corners and poke the corners out and immediately poke right through the fabric, or their seam ripper or the end of a pen, which leaves a mark. This is about the size of the end of a pen. Okay, but it's got a bald tip. And we're just gonna poke these corners out. Then the end of the seam comes out to the edge really nicely. So you get this really nice flat fold. That is probably the weirdest tip I teach anybody about sewing, is that lick your fingers and then roll the seam. And when you do that, the edge of the seam comes right to the top. So now see how straight that is? And I didn't have to sit with my iron and poke it out as I'm ironing it. It's just gonna lay flat. So now I've got this opening. When I go to my iron and press this, I want it to all tuck in. Now, if I take and iron everything else first and then come back and iron this, this is gonna lay pretty flat. Now, all I'm gonna do with this is I'm gonna top stitch all the way around the page. That's gonna close this opening and it's gonna be camouflage. So instead of just having stitching from here to here, which looks a little weird, if you top stitch all the way around, it looks like it was on purpose. Okay? So next, here's a page that's been done and pressed and top stitched. So, and I'm not top stitching really close to the edge, so this is really easy to do. And I just stitched all the way around the book. Okay? So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my book, this is the outside of my book. Make sure you look at the pages. And I'm gonna take all 3 sets of pages. This one's not, I didn't sew this one yet, so we're just gonna have to pretend. And I'm gonna stack them all together, right? So we have 3 different pages. And then I typically will just use like some, the little red clover clips, and I'll just clip it like here and here and here and here. And then I'm gonna take it to my sewing machine and I'm just gonna stitch down the middle of the book. I always back stitch here and here. So that's what this looks like. So here's my middle. All the pages have been top stitched through, and that's what holds the book together. See you later. Bye.